Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie Sadie. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, whether it be on High Vibe or YouTube, it is Tuesday, the 27th. I normally do this on a Monday, but it was Labor Day yesterday, and I was just out enjoying myself. And by the time I got home, it was incredibly late. Um, for those of you who are already watching Gemini Rising, Anne and I just did a fantastic show with astrologer Alex Skiles. I will attach the link below. It was such a great conversation, and I think different to the conversations we've had with other astrologers on the show. Just a completely different vibe, which is amazing, and why we have so many different guests and explore so many different topics. So make sure you go and check that out. Okay, so let's get into it. We are starting with the Ascending Life Oracle, which is the Mahrukh deck that I love and use frequently. Okay, so divine timing is the first card out. Something you can't control. Learn to let go. Trust in divine timing and be patient. Divine timing is one of those things, and we all talk about it and we all believe in it, but there are moments in time where we get frustrated because the universe is not working according to our schedule and how we want things to play out. And the reality is divine timing is always working, and this is where we have to trust the universe and why things don't necessarily work out when we want them to or how we want them to. And it's because there is a greater plan in relation to timing. So if there is something that you're struggling to deal with because the control element isn't there, you're not in control, you're waiting on somebody else or something else, there is a reason for why that holdup is happening, and you have to trust it. It's the same as learning to let go. So this thing isn't happening and it's frustrating and you're getting annoyed because you want to be able to control it. These are the moments where we have to let go of things, and we have to say, you know what, I'm leaving it to the universe. And I don't just mean saying it. You have to actually get to a point where you do let it go and you do trust that is what you're doing. It's the example that I always give is the moment you've been in a tumultuous relationship and you've been waiting for this person to reach out or to hit a particular spot with you, and you go, okay, great, this is what we're going to do. And then you're waiting for a phone call and it never comes. And you're annoyed, but you're still waiting for that call. You're still sitting by the phone. And then one day you sit there and go, you know what? I'm done. And you tell your friends and you say, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. Perfect. The second you actually feel it in your bones and you go, I am done with this person, is the moment that they call, because they energetically feel you disconnect. But it's that power of letting go. When you're obsessing over something and it's something that you don't have, the universe is never going to give it to you, because the universe gives you what you're putting out. And that feeling of lack will be given back to you in that same way. So just keep that in mind. You do have to trust in divine timing. I know it's frustrating, but whatever it is you're waiting on, and maybe we'll get clarity if it's around one specific issue or if it's just that whatever it is you're waiting on, the timing isn't right. Let me tell you, I wanted to move some time ago, and I had wanted to move to Pacific Palisades. That was my dream spot to be in. And when the fires were happening, my sister called me and said, you do realize, had you been able to move when you wanted to, you would have lost everything. And she's absolutely correct. And I feel for everybody that did lose everything. And it's terrible. But for me, that was the universe protecting me from experiencing that in this life. Next card out is passion. Lustful desires, sexual connection with someone, new passion in life, active sex life. So I feel like this could go two ways. With it coming out right after divine timing, it makes me go back to the story of you're in this tumultuous relationship and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and you're not sort of getting that contact or what you need, and then all of a sudden you let go and it comes in. The other thing is this passion being ignited in your life currently? And if you're not seeing someone, maybe this is the start of something. Um, you know, it could be a fun week or a fun encounter with somebody this week. It could be if you're in a relationship, there is a new spark and there is that new connection and the passion is back, which is always wonderful because for me, I fully believe that a sexual and passionate connection keeps you connected in life, and it's what helps you navigate all the things that are a bit tougher that we have to navigate through life. It keeps you connected as partners because that intimate connection is there. Um, so active sex life, if you're in a relationship, in my opinion, is important. I get for everybody, it's not necessarily the same thing. But the other thing is a new passion in life. So is there something that you're working on and trying to bring forward and work on? And so then that to me also goes back to the divine timing. If you're trying to launch this thing and the timing is off, this is where you have to trust the divine timing. But it could also be that there's a new spark of this thing that you want to build, or this new passion, whether it be painting, dancing, exploring a new topic, pottery, something, but just something's coming up that's getting you excited in whatever way resonates or feels appropriate for you. Next card out is celebration, parties, social events, happy outcome, group events, socializing, going out more. So we've got the disco ball there. We're in Gemini season, and to me, it always becomes a very active social time of the year, especially living here in the Northern Hemisphere, where Labor Day kind of marks the beginning of summer, even though we're not officially in summer. It's pool parties and gatherings and people catching up and saying, you know what, let's just all hang out at my place, and we're all sitting outside and getting sunlight, all of that. So it makes sense that this is the card coming out straight after Labor Day. So yeah, I feel like there's going to be just more invitations and more opportunities to meet people, which also can lead to more passion. So just be open to the invitations that come along. I know sometimes, and especially coming out of winter, we can enjoy our hibernation period and enjoy being a little antisocial. But when you get those invitations, just say yes. Even if you only go for a short time, it'll be good for you to get out and just have that other energy. You don't need to stay for a long time if you're really not feeling it, but just I feel like the opportunity to get together with different people is there, and it's going to be good things and bring you joy and some levity to life, and especially when life is so difficult at the moment. The next card that jumped out is delays, and I think this card came out last week. Our friendly snail, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. Frustrated by slow results, any pace is a good pace. Patience and perseverance, you can't rush progress. So again, we come back to the fact that the divine timing card came out at the beginning of this reading. There are delays because there's meant to be delays right now. And as frustrated as you get, you just have to ride it out. You have to trust that it is divine timing. And this whole you can't rush progress. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I always say, one foot in front of the other. That's just how you have to do it. And any big overwhelming project that I have, I learned a lot of years ago that rather than freak out about how big something is, how am I ever going to get to the end? How am I ever going to get to the end of this? This is where you have to just go, you know what? What's the next step? And you go, okay, I just have to get this one little task done. And then I've made progress and I can move on to the next step. And if you focus on all of that, first of all, the end result isn't so overwhelming. The other part of it is that you you're still making progress. It may not be exactly how you want, and it may not be at the pace that you want, but you're still making progress. And if you just keep taking those little steps while the bigger delays are happening, all of a sudden you look back and you don't have you don't have as far to travel because you've actually traveled this big distance, but in tiny little steps. So just keep that in mind as you're persevering through these delays and coming to terms with the universe's timing rather than your own. Unfinished, leaving things unfinished, tying up loose ends, things left unresolved, see things through. I feel like these delays are making you sort of think, you know what? Maybe I'll just leave it. Maybe I can't finish it. Maybe this is it. You need to go back and tie up those loose ends. That last piece has to go in. The OCD part of me is like, you can't leave that undone. But in all seriousness, it's annoying when things are unresolved, but and maybe that's where the delays are coming in. That's why things aren't resolved yet. But you need to just keep making progress. You need to just sort of stick with it and you will get there and the universe will make sure that you do. So just keep persevering. And you know what? When that last piece is finally done, oh, is it going to feel good? It's going to feel so freaking good. So just go with it. All right, I think we'll do two more here and then we'll move on. Love, romantic feelings, mutual attraction. Someone has feelings for you, focusing on love. So we had the passion card earlier. We've got love coming out now. We've got the celebration card. So it's a time for connections to be made. Enjoy that feeling and just know, even though it's the love card, it talks about romantic feelings, mutual attraction. Someone has feelings for you. Sometimes when we meet someone, they're not necessarily our forever person, but it feels really good to go out and date, to have those butterflies in the stomach, to have a good flirt with somebody. And the whole thing is, many years ago, okay, many years ago, I had somebody say to me, you know, you must get asked out all the time. And I said, I absolutely don't. And they went, how is that possible? And I said, I don't know. Anyway, I I reflected on the question for a while and I realized that everyone that was asking me out, I was saying no to. So eventually the universe stopped putting anybody in front of me. So then I made a deal with myself that the next person that asked me out, I would say yes to, regardless of whether I knew it was going to be a connection or not. And I went to an event and I met this lovely man and he was so lovely, so lovely. He just wasn't a romantic connection for me, but he asked me to go out on a date. And I said, absolutely, let's go. And he planned an incredible date. We had a wonderful time. We laughed a lot. Again, there wasn't a romantic connection for me. And I let him know that. He was very gracious and lovely. And he was the stand-up guy that I thought that he was. But here's the thing, by saying yes to that date, it triggered something in the universe that all of a sudden I was getting asked out left, right, and center. And I think within 6 to 8 months, I was in a relationship with someone who was brilliant and interesting and wonderful. And he even wasn't my forever person, but it was a wonderful period of time. So just know that even though it is the love card, it doesn't necessarily need to be the forever person, but there may be just those sparks flying this week. Be open to it. Enjoy it for whatever it is. It doesn't need to be everything. It could be, but it doesn't need to be all that. And if it just ignites some passion in your life and some excitement, that's wonderful. Now, I did say I was going to pull two more cards, and one other card jumped out, and you can't make this up. Man. A male friend enters your life, a male romantic interest. A man will assist you, a man plays a key role. So, with that being said, this could be in regard to the love and the passion and what have you. If you're, well, I was going to say if you're female, but if you're male and that's what you're into, it could be a romantic thing for you as well. The other thing is with this unfinished business that's coming up, And I feel like the delays and the divine timing. So, divine timing around two things: divine timing with the people that we meet, divine timing. So, with the gatherings, the celebration, divine timing in terms of these events coming up and these gatherings being put forward. I always say yes to all of these things because even if the party or the gathering isn't that great, sometimes you go and you just meet incredible people, whether it be friendship, business connections, just these different people that are good to be in our lives. So there's that. And so there's divine timing in relation to that. Divine timing in terms of, the passion and things that are going on in our lives, especially if your relationship has been lacking that. Divine timing, we're bringing it back. This is what's going on. But also divine timing in regard to these loose ends that we're trying to finish up, these last pieces of the puzzle that we're trying to get in. And then again, divine timing regarding somebody new coming into your life for whatever reason, business, friendship, relationship, sexual, whatever it is. Just know that all of these things are happening exactly as they're meant to, and just enjoy them as they're meant to be enjoyed. Be in the present. Don't live in the past and let the fear of what's happened before get to you. Don't sit there with anxiety, worrying about what's coming up ahead of you. Just enjoy it for what it all is right now. Okay, so we're now using the Shaman's Dream Oracle, which is Alberto Villoldo and Colette Baron-Reid. So the first card out is Mindful, which is groupthink. So again, I feel like this is just very Gemini sort of energy in terms of thinking, airy, all this stuff sort of going on, and especially at a time when there is so much going on. So just, and again, there's a clock in the background of all of this. I'm just having a look. The times shown on both clocks are about 7 minutes apart, maybe 8 minutes apart. So I think this whole thing about divine timing, this whole thing about being in the present, all these things going on, it really is about enjoying this season and taking I was going to say what's the right word? Levity is a word, but I've used that a whole bunch of times. The gaiety of the season, I don't know. I don't know how else to express it. Okay. So the next card out is Feast of Plenty, choices and their consequences. So we've got the sword there, we've got the crystal, we've got the crystal ball, and we have the bumblebee. And the bumblebee is a sign of abundance and wealth. The swords can always be seen as being a bad thing. But to me, choices and their consequences, Feast of Plenty. Obviously, if you've been making shitty decisions and if you've been treating people poorly, karma is real. It will come back and bite you in the ass. But if you've been living true to yourself, if you've been trying to do the right thing by people, whether others have understood or acknowledged all of this or not, if you're coming from a very true and real place, the universe sees that, and that karma will be given to you or sort of rewarded to you. And whether that be that it's made clear to the people that didn't necessarily see it originally, whether that means you get rewarded or there's an acknowledgement for you. I just feel like the chickens are coming home to roost, and this is all dependent on who you have been as a person moving through this world. So this one's on you. Next card out is heart, home, and compassion. So we need to be compassionate to those around us. We already understand that the elderly, the disabled, the people that have less than us, that all goes without saying. But the fact that this comes out after the Feast of Plenty card and its choices and their consequences. One of the first thoughts that I had was, if you know someone and these consequences that come around are maybe not so great, it's not a time to judge anybody, but it is a time to support them, to be understanding, and for you to take the higher road and be compassionate to those people. So just know, if that's what you're witnessing, you need to offer some people a little grace. Even if it's difficult for you, I think that shows who you are on a completely different level. And the other thing is, you have to have compassion for yourself. It's so easy for us to criticize ourselves and be really harsh on ourselves. There are moments in time where we make decisions, and maybe if we could go back in time with the gift of hindsight, we would make a different decision. But we do the best with the information that we have at the time. We do the best with what we have in that moment. And maybe it's a wrong decision, but the reality is we weren't given any more, and you know that you were coming from a good place. So you have to trust that and honor it. Maybe it's just that you think that you're not good enough, or there's something that you're doing or not doing enough of. And so you're getting frustrated with yourself for that. You have to have compassion for yourself. Not everybody can go all the time. Sometimes we need breaks. Sometimes we falter. And you know what? It's okay, because as always, divine timing plays a part in this. We come into this world with a soul contract, and we're doing what we need to do. And just compassion isn't just for those that we are watching and observing in this life, it's for ourselves as well. And then the final card that I'm pulling from the Shaman's Dream Oracle is Joyful Muse, Inspiration. So there is so much good that's happening this week. I know there's a few elements which are a little more intense. But realistically, if you look at everything that's come out, it's a positive week. We're going to be social. We've got all these things going on, all these wonderful, exciting things that are just going to bring joy and levity and happiness and laughter, hopefully, and some excitement, whatever that means for you, into our lives this week. And it's being balanced out by these delays and frustrations and things that we need to sort of finish off and what have you. But in amongst all of this, there is this moment of just inspiration, whether it be for something new that you're creating and putting out to the universe, something new that you're thinking about doing, and let that take hold. Let that be the biggest part of your week. And, let's just start a whole new chapter. Why not? The chapters of our lives, and I often think of my life as a book, because I read so many books, and there are books that you get where there's chapters, but there's also parts, part one, and part one has a whole bunch of chapters, and then you hit part two. I think of my life in that way. But here's the thing, if you read a lot of books, and I mean actually read a physical book, there are some chapters that are super long and there are some chapters that are super short, because that's all they need to be. So if you've been having a rough time, and this is a week where it is finally fun and it feels a little bit lighter, and there is that inspiration and there's these new things you want to begin, dive into it, start that new chapter, and just enjoy every minute of it. Okay, so we are going to finish up with the Mahrukh Butterfly Effect cards. If you have watched my monthly readings before, this is where you'll have seen this deck be used. I don't normally use these for the weekly, but I just felt like today this is how we needed to finish up. Action. No more overthinking. You're breaking the cycle of inaction and finally getting something done. You will set your plans in motion and realize your action is the only way to move forward in life. So again, we know we're going to have these delays. We know that we have to trust the divine timing, but you can also put things into motion. It's that whole feeling of just going, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You let the inspiration take hold, or the birth of a new idea. You let that take hold and you dive into that, and then you put it out, and then trust the timing of how it's all going to play out. Okay. Soul Tribe. If you've been feeling isolated or with few connections in the world, cheer up. You're about to find your soul companions and form true soul connections, which will be built on trust and love. So this is exactly why when you get invites to things this week especially, say yes. Say yes. If the gathering you go to is crappy or it's not your vibe, maybe I don't drink at all anymore. And can I tell you, after not drinking for ages and having one cocktail some time ago, it made me so sick. And I realized that not drinking at all, not that I ever drank a lot, I don't miss it at all. So if I go somewhere and everybody's drinking heavily, I'll go and exit quickly. But you might go and have this fantastic time and meet a whole bunch of new people that are exactly where you need people to be in your life at this moment. So just say yes to the gatherings, go and do what you need to do and find your people. Okay, and the final card that I'm pulling from here is victory. You're finally getting something that you've been waiting on for a very long time. A raise, a promotion, finished the project, found the love of your life, or leveled up. You should be proud. So again, we've had the celebration card come out, we've had the victory card come out. Things are coming together. So trust the divine timing of all of this. Tie up those loose ends. No matter how frustratingly slow you may need to move to get all of that done, it's all coming together as it's meant to. And just enjoy this week. Enjoy the things that are coming up. Enjoy the celebrations. Enjoy the gatherings. I don't know about anybody else, but Saturday coming up for me is crazy. I have so many events and I've said yes to all of them. So now I have to figure out how I time everything so I get to go and see everyone that I want to see. But this is the only way that you get to go out and really bring in those new people and the new tribe members. So embrace it all, run with it, and I think it's going to be a great week. So have a wonderful week, everyone. Like I said, if you haven't already seen the episode, go and check out Gemini Rising with Alex Skiles. We had such a great conversation. It was so much fun. It was almost similar to Full Disclosure. I'm not going to lie. It was a different vibe, but it had that sort of energy to it. So go check that out. I'll have the link in the description below. And as always with my readings, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Not every reading is for every person. And have a wonderful week. I will make sure that the monthly reading for June, can you believe we're coming up to June, is up. I'll try and get it recorded maybe Friday, Thursday. I'll figure it out and get that up before the 1st. And then I will see you back here on Monday for next week's Weekly Oracle Wisdom. Have a wonderful week, everyone.